Hello everybody and welcome back. Last time you've met the first poison type of the Jermanzburg region, and today you will meet one of the first regional variants I've ever designed for this project. A regional Oddish based on those beds with grass, trees and flowers that were planted in my neighborhood last year. Please keep in mind that those designs are over a year old and I didn't know as much about designing Fakemon as I do now, but I will talk about that a bit more later. Let's get into the Jermanzburg Oddish. So, as I've seen in the video at the beginning, those beds were filled with stones and a few plants. This gave me the idea of a rock Fakemon that tries to look like a plant, or like it could be found in a garden. I don't know if that makes sense, but it did back when I came up with this evolution line. At first I found those beds to be really ugly looking, but they only look like that in early spring, late autumn and winter. In the summer they're actually quite nice. And apparently they were made to give local bees a food source, cause in the cities those can be quite rare. The last thing I said is not part of the concept, but I wanted to mention it anyways. Jermanzburg Oddish are very popular in the shift area of the Jermanzburg region, especially in the cities where citizens don't have the opportunity to have large gardens or any quick access to nature, so they just plant these rock Oddish in pots or in their stone gardens. Those kind of gardens became more popular since you don't have to water any plants, but they still look like a clean garden. And if you need a change, you can just tell your Oddish to move to a different spot and boom, new decorated garden. I drew them with their eyes closed cause they're not very active Fakemon. They are really heavy, so it takes them a lot of energy to move around, so they barely do this. This stage is based on a lot of grass patches I've seen. They usually were very long and ranged from brown to green. That's why I gave the first stage these long different colored spikes. But don't get fooled, those are indeed made out of stone. So do not trip over while holding an Oddish, because the Oddish will be perfectly fine. You on the other side will not be. Now that I think about it, those could make a really good alarm system. Just plant them under your window and burglars will not have a good time. In last week's video I said that Xenovora is one of the most dangerous Fakemon in the Jermanzburg region, but I do have a feeling that more people were in the hospital because they fell or stepped on Oddish than those who were attacked by Xenovora. Anyway, here is our new dangerous little friend, the rock-type Jermanzburg Oddish. Nothing is really crazy different. Already said that this one is rather old, and I think this one might be too similar to the original one, but hey, it's still cute at least. Next up, Gloom. So back then I didn't really have the whole regional variants are supposed to have a different character thing going on, because I didn't know it. I think I did it because, like Oddish, it's underground most of the time, so it makes sense, but that is already what's going on in the original. So yeah, I don't know, maybe too similar again. Anyways, the stuff on its head is still inspired by grass. However, while walking around in my neighborhood I found some grass patches that had slightly purple blades of grass. I didn't film it, but they were there. And I found that really cool. To differentiate between the first stage, they are not as spiky and upward, but are lying like a bit in its face, and only a few are straight upward. I kinda went with a design that looks like the blades were messed up by some strong wind, which of course is not actually the case, because everything is still made out of stone, so still be careful. Speaking of stones, I added 4 purple stones on its arms because the design was a bit plain, and I figured adding those gems will contribute to the fact that they are also used as decorations in gardens. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about this one. I'm gonna speed up the rest of the drawing process. And here we have the pure rock type Jermanzburg Gloom. I always found the original Gloom a bit disgusting with the spit dripping out of its mouth. I definitely like the snot bubble thing better on my design, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. What do you think? Regardless of what you think, let's see what the final evolution will look like. So, back then I didn't even consider that a regional form could have a regional evolution, so I just went with the regional Vileplume, which admittedly does not have a lot to do with the Gloom I just showed you. I felt like putting grass on it again would be too similar to the previous 2 designs. Realistically speaking, it would just look like a larger Oddish. so I went with a different route. While wandering through my neighborhood, I looked for stuff to turn into Fakemon, and I found these flowers. I don't know what they're called, but I know we have them at home too, and they often grow on or near stones, so it's perfect for this line. The original Vileplume has this large flower that kinda looks like a head, and I switched it out for another large flower. Not the most creative thing, but oh well. Also, I never realized that, but Vileplume looks totally psycho with those red eyes and the heavy shadow on its face. I tried to replicate the psycho feeling, but a bit different. While the original one is more of a staring right into your soul kind of psycho thing, mine looks pretty innocent, at least at the beginning. But I think when I added the shadow, it slowly drifted into the hehe, you're dead psycho way. You know what, I just got an idea, but that may be a bit too gruesome, but it's kind of fitting with the vibe, we will see. So, you see, I removed the little gems on its arms, but other parts are now fully made out of gems. Most importantly, the giant flower. And gems can be expensive, you know. So what if these flower gems were once really popular and people tried to steal them? But the Vileplumes were a bit more vicious than expected, and when a burglar came too near for their liking, they just pushed them into nearby Oddish. Holy shit, okay, never mind. And this is really gruesome. That's a bit too much even for my liking, at least for a game that is more targeted towards children. You know what, I got a bad idea. The story I just told you is what parents of the Jermanzburg region tell their children, so they don't go near the Oddish, which can be dangerous, and to not mess up the garden. That's a bit more appropriate and realistic, I think. And here's the final design of the Jermanzburg Vileplume. Hope you like it. I think out of the three I like Oddish the best, then Vileplume, and then Gloom. However, that's also the case with the originals, so it's probably just a coincidence, probably not. Anyways, what did you think of this line? Please let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, share this video and channel with your friends. It would mean a lot to me. Next video will probably be about the second out of 3 pseudo-legendaries, but I'm not sure yet. Anyway, see you in the comments.